how sometimes life sneaks up on you, man. Sometimes you don't even know that you're a completely different person. You know what I'm saying? Until one day, or not even a completely different person, but that you're in a completely different situation. Until one day, you go to do some shit that you used to do, and it's completely different. The experience is completely different. For me, that was like, so as a lot of you know, I moved away from where I was living a couple months ago, right? At that time, in order to do that, I had to make some extra money, you know. So I was Uber driving like a motherfucker. I was doing Uber Eats, and I mean making decent money, pretty good money, you know. But it was what I needed to stay afloat for that little rough transitionary period, and I did all kinds of fucked up shit in that time, man. I mean, if you don't know, I'll just go into it briefly. At that time, I mean, there was a period where I lived in my car for 7 days. And then after that, I took a place that was really beyond unclean. It was so fucking dirty. I had to clean that bitch up with so much bleach that it actually fucked my lungs up. I survived on chicken and peanut butter sandwiches for like 2 weeks. Like, it was fucking crazy. And I'm talking like ready-made rotisserie chickens that I divided up and kept in my car for that week when I was, you know, living in it. And then after that, man, I had to like ration food. And there was 1 month, no bullshit, where I fucking ate nothing but pasta. That was it. That was everything I ate. I was fucking Italian for 30 days. Pasta every fucking day. Because they had a sale on pasta. And I needed to fucking... But I had a debt that I needed to pay off. And I wasn't fucking around. I was basically... In my mind, I was like, every dollar counts towards paying this fucking thing off. There's interest accruing on it. I need to get rid of it. So I ate nothing but pasta for like 30 plus days. And yeah, man, it was fucked up. It was a fucked up time when I needed money, and I needed to do the shit. Like, seriously, like I needed to Uber drive for like 6+ hours, you know, at least 2 days out of the week in order to fucking get this shit done. And that was at the very beginning. But then the pandemic starts, and I can't do that anymore, right? I can't do that because everything is shut the fuck down. And you don't know who you're going to transfer the thing to. You know, I go out Uber driving. I catch it, I give it to some old lady or some shit, and they die. You know what I mean? So the world shut down, and honestly, I said to myself, I'm going to stop Uber driving the fucking week. I'm not even kidding you. I said, I'm going to stop Uber driving, and like 4 or 5 days later, they were like, everything is shut down. It was crazy. It was crazy, the timing on that. Anyways, point is, man, I had to do it at that time. I had to do it because, or not even had to do it, but it was in my interest to do it because it was the quickest way to getting rid of this debt. Specific debt that I had. In the time between that and reopening, I paid that debt off. I just, you know, was smart, just budgeted. At that time, you know, I had finally been kind of on my feet for long enough that I could kind of look at my expenses and kind of figure out what exactly, you know, I had to do to keep afloat. And I had weathered the worst of the storm, you know. It's like if I hadn't Uber driven, I could have been fucked at a time. But because I did, you know, I was fine. It wasn't until like a week ago when I, you know, decided to Uber drive again, just because, well, you're paying insurance, like you might as well make use of the fucking thing, you know what I mean? So So I decided, okay, I'll go out and Uber drive again. It was only at that point when I was Uber driving that I realized, like, I knew I didn't need to do it anymore, but it's different when you're Uber driving and you know you don't need to do it. Because the last time I had been driving, I was driving under the impression that I had this thing that I needed to get rid of. But now I had already gotten rid of it. So this was the first time that I had done it again, and like almost everything about my life had changed. This was the first time I had done it again, and I was like, well, you know, I'm not planning to be a fighter anymore. I'm not planning to pay anything off anymore. I know I'm set when financially. Oh fuck. And that is what I mean when I say sometimes life sneaks up on you, because at that very moment I got that feeling, and I'm so sure that so many of you have experienced this before. The feeling similar to when you graduate, or when you've worked just on there's something that you've worked really hard on, like for months, and you are finally at a stage where it is over. Like you never really have to do it or worry about it again. There is a strange relief. There is a strange relief there. I'm saying it's a very surreal feeling, and it is honestly the best way for me to describe it is like the week before you graduate, like grade 8 or 12 or university or whatever, and you don't really have to do anything anymore. Like maybe you're just doing things like going to classes as a formality, but it's over. That feeling has got to be one of the greatest feelings that humans experience. And I don't know what it is, because it's not really just relief. That's not what it is. It's something else completely. It's like a mix of relief and just awestruck, just awestruck wonder. There's not really a name for that emotion, but you all know what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, I imagine you do. If you don't, I feel bad for you. But there's a feeling you get when it's like basically over and you're just kind of going through the motions. You're just relaxed and sort of in awe of the fact that, oh shit, like I don't have to do this anymore. It's over. Like this thing that I've been struggling with for so long isn't an issue. It's fucking over. And you just kind of you're kind of like, oh fuck, like over and over again, you kind of realize it again and again and again. And you're like, holy fuck, that's really it. It's fucking, it's game finished. It's like, oh fuck. That feeling has got to be one of the greatest human emotions feelings that we have. Nobody ever talks about that. But I think it's because it's such a rare experience. You feel that thing so rarely that it's like to have a word for it would be like almost impractical, because you just never, who describes that feeling ever or talks about it? None of us do. We're all just, oh, it feels good. It just feels great, you know? But that is a very specific emotion. Like you don't feel like that every year of your life. Like straight up, man, think about it. Like if you graduate high school or something and you don't really do anything super challenging in that time, you only feel that once you're graduating at the end. Or if you had like a difficult project within that time, maybe you feel it then. Like maybe you had, I don't know, like a fucking, maybe you were like an athlete or you were an actor and like you worked like, but even then it's like it's like that's not even the same thing, because what I'm talking about more truly is like something already being set in stone, as opposed to like you achieving something and being elated that that thing is achieved. I'm talking about like something is already like a done fucking deal. You labored really hard for it and it's already like finished. It's over. Like you've already done the legwork. You're just now watching like your life just change and metamorphosize into a much more manageable thing. You know, it's hard. Like not many things are like that. If you organize like an event and it takes you months to organize that event, it might be something like that. You know what I'm saying? If you organize like, I don't know, man. I'm just rambling at this point. Point is, I just had that feeling this week because I realized I didn't really need to do this anymore. Like, I don't really need to Uber drive. I can just do it, like, if I want to. It's not this thing that I have to do in order to get rid of a monkey on my back, you know? And I think that that's pretty fucking great. And I think that when you have that feeling, and if you haven't had that feeling, man, I hope you get it one day, but if you have that feeling, I think you should really embrace it and enjoy it. You know, enjoy it. But yeah, man. Before you know it, sometimes you're just a different human being entirely. Little changes here and there just make everything different. You know. For me, it was like, oh well, you know, I don't necessarily want to be a fighter anymore, and oh, you know, I don't have debt to pay anymore, and oh, you know, I don't live in the same place anymore, and those three things completely changed the dynamic of my life. Stuff like that could happen and you could be a different person in like months. Just little things here and there that you don't notice until a particular time.